What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Milwaukee coming at you once again. And today we're going to be talking about Batman Hush by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. Let's get into it. Batman Hush is a storyline that runs through the Batman comic from Batman 608 all the way through Batman 619. The basic premise of the storyline is someone is manipulating Batman's villains, and it's up to Batman to figure out who it is and to stop them. Batman Hush is one of those storylines that gets talked about, all over the place. It's just one of the classic entries in the Batman mythos. You know, with art by Jim Lee, it doesn't get much better than that. And of course, it introduces the villain Hush, who goes on to play a major role down the line throughout the Batman series. Storyline starts off with Batman. He thwarts an attempt by Killer Croc to kidnap this kid to get a $10 million ransom. So Killer Croc could go and have some cosmetic surgery done because he doesn't like how he's all crocked out and stuff. And of course, while all this is going on, Catwoman steals the $10 million. So Batman goes on the chase for her. And as he's chasing her over the rooftops of Gotham City, someone cuts his bat line and he falls down, breaks his shoulder, and fractures his skull. And of course, he lands in Crime Alley, of all places. So as Huntress to the rescue, she comes, she fights off the thugs that were going to try to unmask Batman, and she gets him into the Batmobile, and the Batmobile whisks him away to the Batcave, where Alfred is doing what he can to patch Bruce up. But Bruce, he uses Morse code because that's all he has the ability to do in such a broken state. And it alerts Alfred that, he should contact world-renowned surgeon Thomas Elliot to come help patch Bruce up because they're old childhood friends. Didn't you know it? So anyway, Tommy, he patches up Bruce, and they start to reminisce about their time as children. Tommy was really there for Bruce after Bruce's parents died. And then shortly thereafter, Tommy's parents die in an automobile accident. So the two bond over their loss. And of course, as Bruce's doctor, Tommy's there checking up on him. And, but Bruce, he's got to get back out there in the case as Batman. He's pushing himself, to his limit, trying to figure out who is pulling the strings out here on the streets of Gotham. This is also a notable storyline because I believe, at least here in the post-crisis continuity, this might be the first time that you get the Batman and Catwoman romantic relationship. I know it's a big part of this storyline, and by the end of it, they go their separate ways. But of course, the Bat and the Cat, they're always crossing paths throughout. So yeah. So anyway, this leads to a night at the opera where Batman, I should say, Bruce Wayne, Selina Kyle, and Thomas Elliot, and Leslie Tompkins are all at the opera. And of course, while they're at the opera, who takes over? Harley Quinn. And she steals a pendant from Thomas Elliot, and she flees off. And of course, Bruce Wayne dips, and he becomes Batman, and he's going down the alleyway, and Thomas Elliot's there chasing Harley Quinn, trying to get his pendant back. But you hear a gunshot, and Thomas Elliot's dead, and there's the Joker with a gun. Oh, what do you know? So Batman, he's beating the Joker because this is just one murder, one crime too many. First Joker kills Jason Todd, then he paralyzes Barbara Gordon, and now he kills Batman's friend Thomas Elliot. So Batman snaps. He's gonna kill the Joker, but Catwoman ends up stopping him from doing that, crossing that line. And there's one part in the storyline where Jason Todd, a resurrected Jason Todd, is revealed to be Hush. He undoes the face wrappings, and it's of course Jason, and it causes Batman to lose it a little bit. He's like, "Oh, it can't be you, Jason," and the two fight it out here in the cemetery by Jason's empty grave, and so it turns out it's not the real Jason Todd, or is it? But Yeah, so anyway, it all comes down to a big showdown on a bridge later on. Batman versus Hush. Hush is revealed. And Batman, he can't believe it. But of course, they fall off a bridge and Hush gets away. Things I enjoyed about this storyline. First and foremost, I gotta say the art. Jim Lee. This might be Jim Lee at his finest. I'm not really familiar with his Marvel or Image Comics work, but I know his New 52 stuff kind of left something to be desired. And so right here, he's drawing like a lot of characters. You got Batman, you got Catwoman, your Harley Quinn, Joker, Superman's in the book. It's basically just a playground for Jim Lee to draw all these classic DC characters, and he does it in his style. It just looks so good. It's such a visual treat for the eyes to read this book. And that's not to say that Jeff Loeb is some slacker. He's not. He's known for a lot of great stuff in comics, including Batman: The Long Halloween, Batman: Dark Victory. But he's a name in the industry, so you pair these two together, and it's like peanut butter and chocolate. You're gonna get the best of the best here. I really enjoyed the interactions between Batman and Catwoman. I didn't really see it coming, and it's just good, right? I liked how Jeff Loeb really weaves in a lot of Batman's rogues throughout the story. He had appearances from just about every major rogue. Killer Croc, Riddler, Joker, Harley Quinn, Scarecrow, Two-Face, Clayface. Is it Clayface or Clayman? I think it's Clayface, right? Yeah. Of course, Jason Todd. Who knows, right? Ra's al Ghul, he's here. Talia al Ghul in the book. Yeah, so it just really brings the Batman universe together. And it does it in a way that's pretty organic and natural, and it's not forced. It's not like, oh, here comes Penguin or something, It's just, well done, well done. And of course, the new villain Hush, right? Gotta love him. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, the Batman-Superman fight here in this book. It's one for the record books. You gotta check it out yourself. I won't reveal who won or how they won, but definitely pick this one up if you're curious. As for something I didn't really enjoy about the book, I feel like the mystery is kind of weak. Granted, this is my second time reading Batman Hush, although I completely forgot what happened. I read it first like over a decade ago, and this book is like 20 years old at this point. And so for me, rediscovering the story, I knew who Hush was. I won't reveal it in the video, but I was kind of waiting, for the reveal. You just don't really get it in this volume, right? Batman, he deduces it, but like I said, they fall off the bridge, and he's never really certain for sure. And he doesn't apprehend the villain, so the villain, he's still out there. And yeah, it's kind of revealed that, like, Hush was the guy who was sort of paying off the villains and sort of like pulling the strings, but the whole mastermind, if you will, of the whole thing sort of came out of left field for me, and I didn't expect it. It wasn't really like laid out well, I should say. It wasn't really spelled out. It was just random. Throughout the issues, you're looking for little clues like, oh, who could it be? Who could it be? But really, you're looking over here for the identity of Hush. But it turns out Hush was just like, I don't want to say a patsy, but he was like the guy funding the thing. But really, over here, like I said, out of left field, was the true mastermind. And I don't know. That was like sort of like the weakest part. But again, you could overlook that by enjoying the great visuals from Jim Lee. Another thing I didn't like about this storyline, it's really like a DC Universe thing. There's a moment in here where Thomas Wayne brings both young Tommy Elliot and Bruce Wayne to Metropolis for like a medical convention. And the two young boys are standing in the street, and overhead flies Green Lantern Alan Scott. And it's kind of implied right here that Bruce Wayne decides he's going to be like a superhero because he's in awe of like the Green Lantern. And that's kind of a problem when you got like a shared universe. You got all these old characters like the Justice Society of America, and they gotta exist in the same universe with the Justice League of America. And so, young Bruce being inspired by Alan Scott Green Lantern to become ultimately Batman later on down the line. I didn't like it, but you can overlook it. It's not like a big deal, but I figured I'd just point it out as one of my gripes about the story. Luckily, it didn't stick. Yeah, so all that being said, Batman Hush is one of those classic Batman storylines that everyone needs to read. If I had a friend and he wanted to get into Batman comics, even though this storyline is over 20 years old, this would be the first book that I would hand him, saying, "Here, read this," because it really has everything. A lot of the rogues, the Bat family is utilized well here. It's just like I said, it's a classic story that everybody should read, and so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 out of 5. Uh, my highest rating, highly recommended. If you yourself have not read this book and you're curious, give it a shot. I know a lot of people will say, there's probably better jumping on points to start reading Batman at this point, but I'm still going towards Hush. It doesn't really get better than that. So until next time, I'll see you there.